He was laughing, chin up and shaking his head. God the Father was exploding in his face with a glory of sunlight through painted glass, a glory that moved with his movements to consume and exalt Abraham and Isaac and then God again. The tears of laughter in his eyes made additional spokes and wheels and rainbows. Chin up, hands holding the model spire before him, eyes half closed. Joy. I've waited half my life for this day. Opposite him, the other side of the model of the cathedral on its trestle table, stood the Chancellor, his face dark with shadow over ancient pallor. I don't know, my Lord Dean, I don't know. He peered across at the model of the spire where Jocelin held it so firmly in both hands. His voice was bat-thin and wandered vaguely into the large, high air of the chapter house. But if you consider that this small piece of wood, how long is it? 18 inches, my Lord Chancellor. 18 inches, yes. Well, it represents, does it not, a construction of wood and stone and metal? 400 feet high. The Chancellor moved out into sunlight, hands up to his chest, and peered round him. He looked up at the roof. Jocelin looked sideways at him, loving him. The foundations. I know, but God will provide. The Chancellor had found what he was looking for, a memory. Ah, yes. Then, in ancient busyness, he crept away over the pavement to the door and through it. He left a message in the air behind him. Matins, of course. Jocelin stood still and shot an arrow of love after him. My place, my house, my people. He will come out of the vestry at the tail of the procession and turn left as he has always done. Then he will remember and turn right to the Lady Chapel. So Jocelin laughed again, chin lifted in holy mirth. I know them all, know what they are doing and will do, know what they have done. All these years I have gone on, put the place on me like a coat. He stopped laughing and wiped his eyes. He took the white spire and jammed it firmly in the square hole cut in the old model of the cathedral. There! The model was like a man lying on his back. The nave was his legs placed together, the transepts on either side were his arms outspread, the choir was his body, and the Lady Chapel, where now the services would be held, was his head. And now also springing, projecting, bursting, erupting from the heart of the building, there was its crown and majesty, the new spire. They don't know, he thought. They can't know until I tell them of my vision. And laughing again for joy, he went out of the chapter house to where the sun piled into the open square of the cloisters. And I must remember that the spire isn't everything. I must do, as far as possible, exactly what I have always done. So he went round the cloisters, lifting curtain after curtain, until he came to the side door into the west end of the cathedral. He lifted the latch carefully so as not to make a noise. He bowed his head as he passed through and said, as he always did interiorly, Lift up your heads, O ye gates. But even as he stepped inside, he knew that his caution was unnecessary, since there was a whole confusion of noise in the cathedral already. Matins diminished, its sounds so small they might be held in one hand was none the less audible from the Lady Chapel, at the other end of the cathedral, beyond the wood and canvas screen. There was a nearer sound that told, though the components were so mixed by echo as to be part of each other, that men were digging in earth and stone. They were talking, ordering, shouting sometimes, dragging wood across pavement, wheeling and dropping loads, then throwing them roughly into place so that the total noise would have been formless as the noises of the marketplace had not the echoing spaces made it chase round and round, so that it caught up with itself in the shrill choir and sang endlessly on one note. The noises were so new that he hurried to the centre line of the cathedral in the shadow of the great west door, genuflected to the hidden high altar, and then stood looking. He blinked for a moment. There had been sun before, but not like this. The most seeming solid thing in the nave was not the barricade of wood and canvas that cut the cathedral in two at the choir steps, was not the two arcades of the nave, nor the chantries and painted tomb slabs between them. The most solid thing was the light. It smashed through the rows of windows in the south aisle so that they exploded with colour. It slanted before him from right to left in an exact formation to hit the bottom yard of the pillars on the north side of the nave. Everywhere, fine dust gave these rods and trunks of light the importance of a dimension. He blinked at them again, seeing, near at hand, how the individual grains of dust turned over each other or bounced all together like mayfly in a breath of wind.